Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Ask the Unicorn. I'm Mealy, and she's Vanilli. No, just kidding.
Is that like an In Living Color parody that we're doing?
I'm Ahura Z, and welcome to the show. This is Ask the Unicorn. This is my stalwart companion, Nirakazi.
Hello. Today is September 7th.
See, she's really easy to distract.
And it is episode 99. So next episode, are we going to dress up?
Yes, we are. It's the 100th episode of Ask the Unicorn. And we're excited about that. I hope you all are excited about that too. And if you're not, you will be. Now, before we get into the show, I'd like to talk about a few things. One, first, I always give a shout out to my companions and the independent film market. There's some wonderful films that are coming out by some great directors, and I'm looking for them, and I'm sure that they're waiting for you to look for them as well. We in the independent film market work very diligently to bring you great entertainment. I've been editing Falkir, and it's looking really, really good. I'm very pleased with it. As I always say, I've gained a profound respect for editors, because editing is not a fun job. It can be rather meditative and, relaxing, but it's not necessarily fun because it's very, very tedious and it's a very lonely job. But to the editors of the world, hats off to you. Now, there's some things that are going on in our world right now and in our country, as a matter of fact, and I'd like for you all to kind of lend your support and don't let these things fall by the wayside. The establishment likes to, whenever people stand up and stand up for their rights and stand up and tell them that they're not going to go for their crap anymore, they like to call people like that protesters. Now, there's something that's going out at Standing Rock in South Dakota, where a oil pipeline business wanted to go on native land and dig and ruin their land just to put in some oil pipelines. And I've had enough with that. That's just, no, that's wrong. I don't care what anyone says. That's native land. You stay off of that land. Also, they brought out dogs, attack dogs. They hired a private security company and brought out attack dogs and had them actually attack the natives. And now the big word for everything is they're called the natives protesters. They're not protesters, they're protecting. They are protecting the water, okay? They are protecting their water, the river that supplies drinking water to 18 million people, okay? They're not protesters. It's their land. Stay off of it. They're protecting the land. For all of these people who think the big business can go and just do whatever the hell they want to. No, they can't do whatever the hell they want to. And they tried to actually perform a media blackout so that none of you would actually find out about this. But no, there were people there that actually had access to media, and they spread the word. And I would like for you all to spread the word as well. And that goes especially for you people that claim that your parents or your great-great-grandparents was a native princess, then you should be standing up for them as well. And for those of you that say, well, I'm 1/24th Cherokee, which seems to be this really big portion of Americans, then I'm pulling your card, because I am native and I'm proud of being native. I mean, I'm part of 4 different warring tribes, and you know what? I'm very proud of those. And one of those tribes is the Apache Nation. So, and I'm not just 1/24th. So yeah, I'm standing with them. I am standing for any of our people that are standing out there trying to fight for their rights and protecting the water, protecting the land, protecting lives, okay? They did the same thing with the Black Lives Matter movement, and they did the same thing with the Occupy movement. They villainized them, turned them into something, went out and provoked them, and then when they responded in kind, they talked all bad about them and told them how bad they were being and called them terrorist groups because the mainstream media decides to do things like that. Well, we can't let them do that anymore. There are people out there standing to protect water for us, standing to protect drinking water for the masses. And when a pregnant woman gets attacked by a pit bull for just doing a peaceful demonstration and not really harming anyone, that's ridiculous, especially when there's footage showing the people attacking the natives that are out there protecting the water. So we need to change something. We need to get off of that protesting and force people to stop calling people protesters. They are protectors of the water. They are protectors of the mountains. They are protectors of life. Okay? So no more of that, allowing them to call everything a protester just because you stand up for your rights. Okay? We need to stop that. And hopefully everybody will. So I just wanted to say my piece. I'm standing for Standing Rock. Okay? I'm standing with the rock. And I don't mean if you smell with the rock, I mean the Standing Rock, South Dakota. I'm also standing for the mountain, Mauna Kea. Okay? And, I stand for life. I don't need a group to tell me that my life matters. My life matters, and that matters to me. Okay? So there have been some other things that have just been big distractions so that certain agendas can be pushed. One of those distractions is that whole thing with that Kaepernick guy that decided not to stand for the anthem. That's his right. He cannot stand for the anthem. I might not agree with him, but that's his right. So lay the hell off of him, okay? Just lay off of him. He did his thing, and maybe he's dealing with his own things. So allow him to deal with his own things. There have been plenty of people that were standing in beer lines, that were sitting, that did not get up for the anthem, and nobody crucified them. So you don't get to crucify this guy either. Mind your own damn business. You have a flag, fly it. Okay, plain and simple. Some of this stuff is ridiculous that we get distracted by, while all kinds of madness is going on underneath us. I don't care. Okay? All kinds of madness is going on underneath us while we get distracted by whether or not a dress is white or gold. It's stupid. Okay? Not only that, you have to you get distracted by this Kaepernick thing, and then everybody starts paying attention to the wrong people, start normalizing things like white supremacy. No, it is not normal. It will never be accepted, and it will never be right. Okay? Well, you got our governor of Maine making stupid statements like he did. He should be held responsible for it. And no, he's not going to get away with it. I'm not going to let him rest and say, oh, it never happened. No. Okay, it's enough. We've had enough madness already. So, you all stand for life. You stand for what's important. And what's important is making sure that we are treated right as human beings. We are not animals. We are not just something to be shoved up under a rug and be controlled. Nobody owns us. None of the government owns us. And they like to believe that they do, but they don't. And we need to make them know that. Okay? And you believe in who you want to believe in. You be with who you want to be with. You visit who you want to visit. You hang out with who you want to hang out with. And don't allow someone's political agenda or somebody's problem with the color of someone's skin control who you are and what you do. Okay? I mean, certain things are just ridiculous. Oh, as far as that lady, Tommy Lahren, that someone asked me about, I don't have anything other than to say that person is just inexperienced and dumb. Someone 24 years old has barely, and especially living the life that she did, has barely had any experience doing anything of any import. The only reason she got the position that she did is because she was dating somebody important. So as far as I'm concerned, she has absolutely nothing to say about anybody. She should just sit there, look pretty, nod her head, and smile. Okay, and all the venomous words that she has to say about black people can go take a long walk off a short pier, have a coconut smile, and shut up. Okay, so beyond that, now that I've gotten all of that out, because it's very important that I got all of that out, let's move on with the show. The unicorn is in. I'm listening. What have we got?
Ava, Smiley, and Paul say hi.
Hello.
Shelly says hi and that she's with you with Standing Rock. Miyoko and Tabari are on, and Michelle says hi.
Hello.
Angie Chen says hi.
Hello.
We have a question from Lee.
Hello.
Early this morning, as I am fully awake, I hear loud bells in my apartment downstairs. It scared me a little, then I heard it again. I get up slowly and go across the hall to my roommate to see if it was her, but the room was dark and she was in the bed. I ask her, did you hear that? And she says, hear what? So I tell her. Now she's scared and we both slowly went downstairs but found nothing. What could this be?
Well, there's a couple of things that it could be. One could be because you were in between and you heard something that was in between the worlds of the dimensions, between sleep and wake, or during the dream state and your waking state. The other could be because the reason that she didn't hear it is because it was meant specifically for you. Now, you said that it was a bell. Usually when there's a bell, there's a communication. If it sounded like broken glass, that could be something else. But if this was clearly a bell, then it was something that was meant for you. Granted, you don't understand how to deal with that type of communication, but it is nevertheless a communication. Okay, so what you might do is see if it happens again. Notice whether it happens just one, or was there one ring? Was there two rings? Was there three rings? Was there a series of bells? Or was it just just go ahead. Oh, you can't.
I got it.
Or was it just a one-time type of an event? Was it a high bell or was it a low bell? All of those things are significant. They mean something. Okay? They always mean something. Was it a clear sound? Was it a bong? Was it more like just a clang? Or was it a tinkle? They all mean something. It also helps you determine the nature of the person that is trying to get the communication to you. Okay? So if I were you, I would listen to see if it happens again. Note the time when it does happen. But it sounds like a communication to me. Tell your friend you got nothing to be afraid of. Okay, you guys freaked each other out. You've been watching too many movies. Well, no, you can never watch too many movies, but if you don't know how to watch horror movies, you should probably refrain from doing so. Now, Kazi's gone, which means that I may have to pull double duty here.
No, you don't have to pull nothing. I'm right back.
Okay. So I hope that helps you out.
That's all for questions right now.
That's all for questions?
Yes.
Really? This is going to be another night where I just talk and talk and talk, and then people just ask a question here and there. Okay, listen, I'll answer questions of a metaphysical, paranormal, mystical, and spiritual nature. As you all know, there are two types of questions that I do not answer. And that is whether or not someone is going to die or whether or not someone is cheating on someone. If you want to deal with those particular types of questions, you should probably deal with the person that you're asking about. However, I teach lots of classes, and teaching those classes, and it enables me to be able to answer just about any type of question regarding those four fields. And the type of being that I am what you call a telepath. I'm also a psychic policeman. Now, that labels really don't mean anything. They're just words, titles. I've done a lot of things. I've helped a lot of people and helped myself, and still trying to help myself. So if there are questions that you have, you can give us a call at area code 207-347-5686. Or you can type in things at www.unicorn-code.com. So was that slow enough for you?
The phone number, you're like, you can call us out.
I did no such thing.
Paul has a question. He says, "Did you have a chance to look into the Mandela Effect? Interested about your thoughts?"
As a matter of fact. I did look into the Mandela Effect, and I think it's something that is probably the result of a few things, and these are the things that I came up with. I think the Mandela Effect, I don't know why they chose to call it the Mandela Effect. It's actually a time displacement, and that has to do with something that happened maybe over 50 years ago, and that was a Philadelphia experiment, where they actually did a time displacement. They also tried teleportation, failed miserably, but they still did it anyway. And eventually, I'm sure that they got it to a level of perfection, at least for short jumps. But when something like that happens, remembering that the universe is built upon trade, in other words, is built upon supply and demand, or need and the need to fulfill. It's also dealing in a giving and taking type of a scenario. When something is taken from someone, something is given back. No matter what you do, that's just the law of the universe. The law of the universe says, well, forever, whatever has been taken, something has to be given in its place. And that has to be able to fill the place that was taken, otherwise it creates a vacuum. Well, let's just say that something took a little too long to fill the space, and therefore it vacuumed in something entirely different. Well, if there is a you that exists here, right, or there's a whole life that you're carrying on here, and there's a group of people that carry on a similar life in the same time stream, there's a dimensional existence for each of you people at the same time. Maybe something was exchanged, or maybe something was taken from one place and not fulfilled in the other. This is why they like to make up scenarios and say that if you go back in time, you're not supposed to interfere with the time line, because if you do, it will affect things in a future timeline. Well, that could very much be true, although it doesn't happen the way that they describe it in the movies. It happens like this. If you go back about 20 years and you change something, that change, even if it's insignificant, has a huge effect, okay? But it has a dimensional effect, not just a physical effect. It has a dimensional effect. It has a mental effect. It even has an etheric effect. It has an astral effect. And to a degree, it can even have a soul effect. Now, keeping in mind that all of us are eternal beings, it can still have a certain type of an effect. Things that were very, very simple. Perhaps you were left-handed, but now you're right-handed. Perhaps your eyes were brown, and then all of a sudden they're green, but nobody noticed it. No one noticed it except for a few people. Okay, everybody just always thought that your eyes were green. Everyone just thought that you were right-handed. But a few people say, wait a second, weren't your eyes just brown? Or weren't you left-handed? Or didn't I know you from someplace else? Maybe 50 years ago? So is it so much that it is a physical effect as it is the physicality is merely a reflection of what has happened in a energetic or dimensional event? I mean, you can go on talking about this forever, but I say that certain things have been extracted without being put back. And because of that, the universe had to manufacture something to cover that space. And sometimes it could be in the form of an event, like people who thought that Nelson Mandela died in the 80s, and then people who just thought that he died in 2013. Now, that can be used if it's perfected. And unfortunately, it can be used wrongly, because we're human and we're kind of stupid. Because we like to figure out ways to use things wrong. But this effect does actually affect a lot of people. For instance, could it be that all of the people that have been seeing 11/11 forever and then making up that certain things are going to happen on that particular date, perhaps there's something that did happen on those particular dates, but only a certain group of people experienced what happened. And there was a huge event that took place. But if you weren't that certain group of people, it would have been as if nothing ever happened because you would not miss them. That is the nature of a paradox. So let's say that this Mandela effect is actually a controlled paradox, or a small paradox, which only affects certain people. Remember, a paradox doesn't mean absolute. A paradox can happen as far as thought. It can happen as far as a singular molecular structural event. It can happen as far as DNA goes. It can happen down to such a level that it wouldn't be missed. In other words, if you came up missing and you were someone entirely different and you looked entirely different and everybody around you perceived that you were that different being, but you knew that you were somebody else, it wouldn't really make a difference because no one remembers. No one remembers who you were. No one remembers what you were, and nobody remembers anything about your life except for you. And maybe a few that are scattered all over the place. But it's an interesting thing. Whenever an event like this Mandela effect happens, the people who can all coincide and say and show the actuality of an event are never present. They're just never present. And it's almost as if it's orchestrated, which begs the question, is there someone that's standing just outside of our perception that is looking at every single thing that we do and programming us with every single thing that we think that we are thinking? Kind of like the Matrix.
That sounds like Bruce Almighty. It's not Bruce Almighty. The one where he was in the globe. Jim Curry.
Jim Curry?
Jim Curry. I'm going to stop talking. Jim Carrey.
You know, perhaps there's, if the clouds part, there's going...
Where the clouds part,
Yeah,
and there's a...
you know, you're talking about,
Name that movie. Name it.
What was it called? Whatever. Like the clouds will part and there'll be a wall up, and then, you know, it's not Bruce Almighty, it's the Truman.
The Truman Show.
Yeah. You know, so what if? I mean, what if, you know, has anyone noticed how fast time is passing lately? Has anyone noticed how fast August just zipped right by? It's impossibly fast, okay? Which basically means maybe someone's zapping us with this machine to make us all fall asleep and then wake up weeks later thinking that it was just a day later. You know, all of these things are, if you're going to consider that Mandela effect, you have to consider all of these things because they all go into manipulating who you are and who everyone else is and your perception of who everyone else is, because it can be changed at any moment in time, especially if someone got a hold of the secret of that. Now, there have been certain people that have been able to go back and forth in time. Sometimes they lose their time machine, but we won't go into any of that. You know, but these people also would not want anyone to know what they're doing. And I say people loosely. Okay, so for those of you that think that everything is just plain and simple and human, you are so wrong. Okay, everything is very, very complex. And this Mandela effect, well, I hate to keep calling it that because I don't think that he had anything to do with it. I think that this particular effect is a rippling effect that changes with every ripple. And it can change with every ripple. We're kind of witnessing if you're paying attention, if you're really paying attention, we're like rippling into bizarro world. But there's certain people that in their reality think that it's always been bizarro world. And other people don't think that it's been in a bizarro world, and they're trying to tell us that it's not bizarro world. You know, so it would be great if everybody thought of this Mandela effect and started really picking apart things and going, wait a second. No, that didn't used to be that way. Okay, that this was not the right way. This said this. These people were here. This person wasn't there. This is who I am. Perhaps the grand mystery is to keep us, the grand thing is, the scheme is to keep us from being so aware that we realize exactly who we are and return to that space. So I say that the Mandela Effect is a controlled paradox. And sometimes it can happen on a group level, which basically means that there's someone existing that has the ability to cause that to happen. If that's the truth, then all of those people that have said that aliens are not real are full of caca. And all of those people that have, all of those people that have tried to make you believe that your life here on Earth is all that there is full of baloney as well. And we owe it to ourselves to go beyond. We owe it to ourselves to not only understand this Mandela effect, but be able to learn it and manipulate it ourselves so that we can actually break the barriers that have held us for so long. And perhaps that's what they don't want you to know. Do you know that there are people that pretend not to know about reincarnation that do know what reincarnation is, and also have been using it for quite some time to find each other and continue whole regimes? You know, they have found ways of locating each other. You know, I lived in Seattle for a while, and up in Seattle proper, and I would drive by it every day on my way to work. There's this apartment building that this kid lived in, who was supposed to be one of a group of Buddhists came to visit this child because he was one part of their lama, of their leader that they were looking for. And it was true, him and two other people.
How did they know?
Together. Yeah, that's my point. They went searching for him and they found him. And this is a true story. This is not make-believe. It's not made up. It's not embellished. They found him. And they found him through spiritual means. But he had become 3 different people that helped make him up, which is amazing when you think about it.
How do they know?
Well, they know by their own practices. I mean, I would imagine that they've been doing it for thousands of years.
They just have
and they just stayed true to it. No, they actually had some of his objects, and they recognized his energy. It goes from lifetime to lifetime, you know, like kind of like I recognized Bucky or Moo and Bucky, you know, but things are so subtle that they're subtle and they're blatant simultaneously. So those are my thoughts on it. My thoughts are continuous. I never stop thinking about anything, you know, and I'm still thinking about this Mandela Effect, because to me, it is an ultimate time machine. Which is really interesting because it also would lead one into the Merkaba thought, okay, which is also a time machine. Well, it's not really a machine, it's just a time existence or time tool. But see, you can't take one person and move them back and forth in time without a group around them being affected. And that's the whole Mandela Effect. You can't, there's just no way. In order for you to move back and forth in time, remembering that you'd have to return to your own timeline at some point in time. You wouldn't have to do it immediately, but all the same, you couldn't jump super far. You could only jump so far. It would be like pinching the fabric of the universe, time and space. It would be like grabbing it and pulling it and creating a wormhole, so to speak. But it's a contained wormhole, which means it may go on for a really long time, but it will encapsulate something or capsule the person so that they're able to return to where they were. Now, granted, some people might not want to return, but the laws of physics will be obeyed, even if it just returned a part of them, or returned part of them mixed with part of something here, because you'd actually have to not just pinch, but you'd have to move between the molecular structure of things on a physical level here, which is probably why those guys got caught in the walls with the Philadelphia experiment. They actually got blended with their molecular structure, blended through on this boat, and became one with the boat. So essentially they were like organic material. But what happened is the laws of physics reclaimed them because they didn't have a stability over on the other side. It would be more like a dream. Okay, like if you can go into the dream realm, and let's say that you go into the dream realm and you get this apple, right? Now, and then you can bring that apple back with you. But unless you do something with that apple that will ground it in this particular reality, it will go back to where it was supposed to be. And there's no telling what it looked like when it did go back, because you're dealing with the very fabric of time and space. And since there is no real linear time and space except for that which we imposed upon ourselves to make it look like we did something important, that time and space would gel with elements here. And that would mean that you may wake up with an apple fused to your hand.
That would suck.
And if that would be the case, then that apple would be you.
So if you bite into it, you're biting your flesh.
Pretty much.
No.
And you would actually feel the pain of it.
Yeah, remind me not to try to do that.
I think that that's where someone did that whole thing with creating something that this is not the first time this has been done. I think the Atlanteans did this.
Probably.
And that's why there's a hole. See, there is a hole. It's called the Bermuda Triangle. I think but it's just a temporal hole. It doesn't really stay there. It just kind of manifests itself here and there. But there's no telling what's on the other side of that. There may be people that are totally blended with machinery. And if you figured out a way to control that, you could cause people to be blended with machinery. You could cause them to be blended with all kinds of things. You could also cause them to be blended with animals.
Egyptian. But you already said that theory that the Egyptian people were perhaps Atlanteans because they had figured that out.
Yeah, well, they could have also been Lemurians, remember. They used the life force to power things. This is not the first time that Earth has evolved. We're a little slower than before. In fact, we're a lot slower. We're in the 21st century, and morons are still like talking about the color of people's skins. If they just realize that we're all related, no matter. And I need to say this for all of my racist friends out there. Related. I don't care what you think. Okay? I don't care what any of you think. We are all related. Okay? So stop calling yourself white and stop calling people black. Okay? You're albino, if anything. And there's nobody who's really black. Okay? See this? Let me show you something. That's black. Anybody got this color skin? I know there's some people pretty close. Anybody got that color skin? Then you call them black. Anyone has this color skin? Then you can call them white. No one is this color. Okay, so cut it out. There's no pure race. The only pure race that you have is human, and that's even questionable. So Anyway, I swayed off subject there, but uh, I hope that helps you out. I'll keep thinking about that because it's an interesting topic to think about because I've always thought about this. I used to call it the Mandela Effect. Okay, what else?
Paul says, I don't know what to think about the Mandela Effect, but a lot of people are claiming it has to do with the D-Wave quantum computer. Creators of the D-Wave computer have claimed it can possibly harvest information from other dimensions.
Yeah, that would make sense. But I can harvest information from other dimensions. That's not an unusual thing. It may have something to do with disrupting the electromagnetic sphere that we live in. But it might have something to do with CERN. It also may have to do with things that they are experimenting with that we do not know of, or they think that we do not know of. HARP can also cause such a displacement. Anything else?
Yes. Smiley has a dream, she said. They said, Smiley says, I was freeing a mallard from being tangled in some kind of a line near a wall. He had been there for a few days. When I released him, he dropped his head into the muddy water like he wanted to die. I shooed him off to a female I saw nearby. She met him, and they both started flapping their wings. Any thoughts? Oh, and then Michelle has a question too. Sorry, Michelle. Yours is next.
Perhaps that's talking about you. If you just free yourself from whatever it is that you're already in, if you finally just free yourself and clear up your emotions, you'll be able to meet what you're looking for. That wasn't about the ducks. That was about you. Smile. Free yourself from your emotional bonds. You have to. All it's doing is strangling you and depressing you. Be free. I don't even know why you're containing yourself in the first place. You need to be free. And be free with whoever it is that you choose to be free with. You'll see. For those of you that are out there that are looking for something, you women, listen. You cannot expect for Prince Charming to come walking through the door if you have someone standing in it. And it also goes for you men. Okay? Free yourselves. What else? Smiley.
Michelle says, hello, why is it that she says, hello, why is it that there are certain people we just don't like, no matter what good you find in them, you just don't like them?
I think that's a matter of preference. That comes down to you personally. Yeah. No matter what, I don't like mayonnaise.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care if mayonnaise was the only thing on earth left to eat, I would starve. Okay? That's just a matter of preference. You know, if perhaps you just don't jive with that person, and that's okay. It's all right. There's lots of people that I don't like. In my line of work, however, who I like and don't like is irrelevant. If there's something that I need to do with that person or to cooperate with that person on some level, then I have to get rid of that which I like or don't like and get the job done. If you don't have to, then stay away from them. Then it won't matter. It's like, I don't like Paula Page. However, if he walked into my bakery, I would show him the due respect show him the respect that he was due. I would. That's his station. His station is still at this point as governor. However, even as governor, I would look at him dead in his face and say, I don't like you. I don't like anything you stand for. But all of that is irrelevant. He reminds me of Family Guy. Kind of a cross between Family Guy and Fred Flintstone. With a bad attitude. But sometimes it just comes down to you just don't like someone. Okay. Then stay away from them. It's all about energy. What else you got?
Smiley says thank you.
You're welcome, Smiley.
Why do you say it like that?
Because anybody named Smiley.
It's gross.
Smiley.
It's gross.
Take a look over here, Smiley.
It's gross. You're being gross.
Oh, you like that?
This is a PG-13 show. Thank you.
It is not. This show is rated G. Shut up.
Yeah. G. Whatever.
It's actually rated U for unicorn.
Unrated. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo. I'm out of it. Puppies, everybody. This is what happens. Not much
The
sleep.
puppies are outside. They're getting bigger. And for
louder.
those of you that
They're
are
getting
interested,
louder.
for those of you that are interested in a chow, there may be 2 of them that will be up for sale soon. So if you'd like to do a prepayment, these are purebred chows. So they will probably go for $600. And the one that is not for sale, however, is Cersei. And I have to see how Lane feels about the other one. Now, are there any other questions at all? Questions, not chows.
No questions.
All right, listen, for those of you that are interested in developing your psychic ability or developing any of your intuitive gifts, I do teach classes. I teach via Skype, I teach in person, and other media avenues. I do not teach for free, however. 6 weeks of classes are $500, and that's 2 classes per week. And by the time I'm done with you, you will have learned something. Okay. For those of you that are interested in paranormal investigation, I can also teach you that. Not only that, I can even help you start your own team. But I teach a number of things, and always willing to help. Always willing to help those that have just awakened, or just have been awake for a long time and just getting to studying your gifts. Okay, so keep a promise to yourself. You can contact us at unicorn-cove.com, or you can give us a call at area code 207-347-5686, or contact us through the Ask the Unicorn site. That's www.asktheunicorn.com, and set up something. I'd be more than happy and willing to teach you. For those of you that are in need of energy healing or things like that, I also do that, and I do readings. They're telepathic readings, and I do telepathic counselings. I doubt seriously that any of you will need an exorcism, but and hopefully you don't. But that's one of the services that I provide. I also do soul travels, regressions, soul retrievals, and much, much more. All right, and what's our time like?
8:14.
My goodness, you all are so quiet.
Yes.
Is there anything else?
No.
Nothing else?
Thank you. That's it.
Who said that?
That's Smiley.
Oh, I heard that. I already said that.
I know,
Remember?
that's it.
I
That's
said,
all I got.
you are so welcome, Smiley.
Yes, I remember.
How's he likes that voice?
No, I don't. It's gross.
Take a look over here.
Mm-mm.
So anyway, anybody play any good video games lately? That's because there aren't any. Aren't any good. Okay, people can only play Call of Duty so long before they finally see this a sucker game, you know. And Grand Theft Auto, I was never interested in, considering that I actually grew up in Los Angeles. And Doom was good. It was good. Fallout 4, definitely very good. I was very disappointed with
Oh,
Borderlands.
Final Fantasy is supposed to be coming out.
Yes, it is, but they have not been able to make it good since Final Fantasy X. Sorry.
When does it come out?
Oh, but there's a good movie coming out.
God.
There's a great movie coming out, and I'm gonna go see it. It is Magnificent Seven. Okay, you might look up some trailers. They're doing it again. They're doing another Magnificent Seven. It's based off of an old Japanese story, Seven Samurai, and that's really, really good. It's a classic. But they did Magnificent Seven once, and that was years and 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 years ago. But now they're doing it again. Denzel Washington has the lead role, which is pretty doggone awesome. Denzel always acts the same, pretty much. You know, and who else is in it? I'm sorry, I don't know the other people.
Ooh, Final Fantasy is not out.
But it looks like it's a great film, really great film, very diverse cast, and I'm very pleased with it. Let's just see if they screw it up.
We have a question from Marshall.
Hey, Marshall, how you doing?
He says, how about healing? Is angelic healing different than only using human energies?
Oh, yes. Excuse me. Using angelic energy is very, very different. Although remember, angelic energy is used through the human vessel. So it has that element to it as well. The energy that I use for healing is exactly that. I don't really think about whether or not there's a huge difference. I can only tell you that it is pretty much what it is. It just depends. Angelic energy is something that flows freely, and it's not the personal energy. And everyone should strive to use that energy, because then you're not using your personal energy, which means that you're not using the flaw of your personal energy. A human energy always has a flaw, and that flaw is emotional attachment. And unfortunately, emotional attachment can affect the nature of the healing, and that's something you don't want to do. So if you can use nature, or you can use angelic healing instead of your own personal energy, remember, your personal energy is for you. Your personal energy should be growing and rejuvenating and replacing and replenishing itself. So we have all of this magnificent resource, which is all of the angelic hosts in nature to draw upon and to become a vessel for it. If you're a healer, what that means is that you have the equipment on the inside of you that would be able to translate the cosmic energy or the angelic energy into something that can be used on humanity and on yourself. So yeah, it's very different. Very different. Fortunately, those of us that can heal do have the ability to translate that energy. It's kind of like your subconscious mind energy into light, sound, color, symbologies, or movement, or feelings, or solidities, or intangibilities. It's a huge translator. And you have that type of a thing going on inside you, which is why you're able to take the energy of the cosmos and form it into something that would be healing. So yeah, very different. Hope that helps you. Any other questions?
Karen says, hi guys, what are your thoughts on paranormal investigations? Any advice on staying safe?
Don't be emotional. One, don't be emotional. Stick with the rules. Once you finish the paranormal investigation, leave. And you're an investigator. You're not there to prove or disprove anything. You're just there to see what there could be. And if you do find something, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're able to handle it. That merely means that you found something. If you want to document it, that's great. Go right ahead and document it. Don't be disrespectful. Like, you know, you see these people on television, Ghost Hunter and Ghost Adventure and etc. and Ghost Whisperer and all of these people, they're very, very, with the exception of the Ghost Whisperer lady because she's kind of airy fairy, but the guys are just very disrespectful, very stupid, very arrogant, really don't know what they're doing at all. They just happen to get a job doing that because someone thought it would be cool to let them do it. When you are going on a paranormal investigation, understand this: you are not hunting for anything. There are ghosts and spirits all around. And before you do a paranormal investigation, you should learn what paranormal means. You should learn what the difference between a ghost and a spirit and just an energy. You need to learn these things. You have your technique down, and don't go in there because you think it's cool. And don't go there just because you have a camera. Okay, these days everybody, every Yahoo with a camera thinks they're a paranormal investigator. It doesn't work that way. What works is if you happen to see something or someone is coming to you and say, listen, this is what I'm going through. You have to be willing to ask every single question about what it is that they're going through, what it is they're experiencing, until you even get to the esoteric, until you get to the spiritual. You need to find out everything. And I've said this before, that you need to find out if they just had too many Skittles. You need to find out if there's an alcohol problem. Is there a drug problem? Are they going through therapy? Are they on any kind of medication? Have they argued with their spouse? Are they in the midst of arguing with their spouse? Did they just come back from an argument and they're angry? Is there something that's happening in their job that is upsetting them or causing them some undue stress? Do they have some health problem? Is there something that's uncomfortable on them? Did they eat too much pastrami? Did they have a funny sandwich? Okay, you have to ask all of these questions. Do they smoke? How long have they been smoking? Is it causing any problems? You really need to be able to ask all of these questions before you go up into whether or not someone actually saw something, whether or not they actually felt something. And you get people all the time that talk about scratches, and those could be astral entities. But let's get something perfectly straight. And I need for you people to really take this seriously. The last thing that a demon would do to you is scratch you. Okay? So everything that you have out there is not demonic. 2, you need to really seriously quit throwing that kind of stuff around. Okay? There are a multitude of positive entities that are out there and positive things that are out there. Not everything is scary and foreboding. You don't need to turn the lights off to do a paranormal investigation, nor do you have to set up funny spectrometer electrophones.
Yeah, I want one of those.
Things. You can do it with your own intuition. Of course, I know of a few teams that use a lot of the electronics, and they're very adept at using them.
They have some nice stuff.
Yeah, they have some really cool
so
stuff.
So jealous. I want to play with your robots.
You have to use your common sense above all things. Going on a paranormal investigation is not a tourism event. Okay? So don't go take someone with you just because they want to go on a ghost hunting adventure. Another thing, while you're doing a paranormal investigation, make sure that everybody that is on your team is respectful. Respectful not only of themselves physically, but for all of those beings that are non-physical. Now, there are some definite techniques. If you're interested in classes, I'll be more than willing to help you. But don't think that just because you want to do something means you have the ability to do it. I've had to take some wicked things off of people that just thought that they had the ability to do it because they owned a camera. I've had people coming to me and telling me horror stories about what they've been going through. A person come and said, something chased me and I don't know what it is, but it's chasing me. I don't want to leave here. So I had to separate their energy from it because they would knock on a door that they should not have knocked on. You get hundreds of people going and playing with stupid little Ouija boards because someone told them, oh no, it's not dangerous at all. Toy. People that think that about Ouija boards are also those people that think that God is not real. And let me tell you one thing for certain. Like it or not, believe it or not, want it or not, think it or not, God is real. How you perceive God is up to you. But let's get something straight. Your perception or your acceptance or your belief in God is not required. Because God believes in you. And when I say God, I am also talking about Goddess. Let's make that perfectly clear. And if you're a paranormal investigator, if you tell me that you don't believe in God, or you tell me that you don't know that God exists, or you tell me that you think that the goddess is not real, you're not a paranormal investigator. You're a normal person pretending. Because if you're going to investigate something of the paranormal, understand that para means greater than and beyond. And that by the virtue of you being a paranormal investigator, you have said that you believe in the hereafter, which means that you believe in all of those things that comes with the hereafter, including God, goddess, angels, devils, demons, all of those things, all points in between. So get your belief structure together. Get your knowledge base together. When you do an investigation, if you're the type of investigator that I am, you must have an unshakable resolve. You must be willing to act, even if you're quaking in your boots. And darkness only proves that you're afraid of the dark. And I'd say that to anyone who thought that they were a paranormal investigator. That's why most people like to do investigations at night. That's absolutely silly. The night is just like the day.
I am the night. Sorry, hat.
Just because you can't see something doesn't make it more real. Okay.
Karen asks, can I contact you privately?
Of course. You certainly may, and we can sit and have a grand talk. As a matter of fact, I have some time after the show. We can talk back and forth on Messenger if you'd like. Okay. Hope that helps you out.
That's it. It's 8:28.
Isn't that lovely? Any other questions at all?
No. Not yet.
Okay. Well, in that case, I'd like to thank you all for joining us on the show this evening. This has been a very good show. I look forward to more. Please tell your friends about the show. The more people that come to the show and the more people that ask questions, the more that I get to teach. That is my function. I teach. So also, if you have questions and you come up with, write them down, please. My energy has a way of wiping out one's questions. Okay, usually because I wind up answering a bunch of questions anyway. But remember what I said about Standing Rock. Remember what I said about unity, that we are all related and that we all need to unite. If anything, we need to gather up all of the racists and kick them out of the country. So this is all of our land here. We are Americans. We are human. We are children of the universe. We are all one. So try to be good to each other. Okay? Be good to each other. Do the things that you need to show respect to one another. Be kind to one another. In fact, I'd like to challenge you all. I'd like to challenge you all to do 5 kind things and then tell me about them on next week's show.
Hello. That's one. Yes. That's one.
Okay? So, have a great week. Until next week, I'm Ahura Z. This is Kazi. Unicorn out.
Night night.